The auditorium lights dimmed as the crowd hushed, anticipation thick in the air like fog over a San Francisco bay. Breno Harper sat in the third row, his heart pounding not from excitement but from a dread he couldn't shake. He had come here to support his best friend, but as the keynote speaker stepped onto the stage, Breno's world tilted. Dr. Elias Thorne, the man who had promised to fix him 5 years ago, now stood there, microphone in hand, ready to reveal a truth that would shatter everything Breno had buried. Breno had grown up in the heart of conservative Texas, where church bells rang louder than personal freedoms and family expectations weighed heavier than any secret. His father, a stern oil executive, and his mother, a devout homemaker, had raised him with the unspoken rule that deviation from the norm was not just sinful but destructive. When Breno first felt the stirrings of attraction toward his high school teammate, he pushed it down, convinced it was a phase, a test from God. But by college in Austin, the feelings persisted, leading to stolen kisses in dorm rooms and a gnawing guilt that kept him up at night. Desperate for normalcy, Breno sought help online, stumbling upon conversion therapy programs disguised as reparative counseling. That's how he found Dr. Thorne's clinic in Dallas, a sleek office with inspirational posters and a promise of transformation. "We'll realign your desires," Thorne had said during their first session, his voice calm and authoritative, eyes steady behind wire-rimmed glasses. Breno, then 22, handed over his savings. $20,000 scraped from part-time jobs and a small inheritance. Believing this was his path to the life his parents envisioned. A wife, kids, a picket fence in suburbia. The therapy was grueling. Sessions involved aversion techniques, where Breno was shown images of men and conditioned to associate them with discomfort, mild electric pulses or nauseating smells. Thorne delved into Breno's childhood, probing for root causes like an absent father figure or overbearing mother, twisting memories to fit a narrative of brokenness. "You're not born this way," Thorne insisted. "It's a choice, and choices can be unmade." Breno endured it all, journaling his progress, attending group meetings where others shared similar struggles, their faces etched with forced optimism. But doubts crept in. One evening, after a particularly intense session, Breno met Jamie, a barista at a local coffee shop. Jamie's easy smile and shared love for indie music sparked something real, something the therapy couldn't erase. They dated in secret, but the guilt amplified, leading Breno to double down on sessions. "This is just a setback," Thorne reassured him. "Commitment is key." By the end of the year, Breno broke things off with Jamie, convinced he was cured. He moved to New York for a marketing job, dated women sporadically, and buried the past. Now, at 30, Breno lived in Brooklyn, single and successful, but the facade cracked often. He avoided gay bars, scrolled past pride posts on social media, and told himself the therapy had worked. His friend Sarah had dragged him to this LGBTQ+ rights conference, insisting he needed to broaden his horizons. "It's empowering," she said. Breno agreed reluctantly, not expecting Thorne to be the surprise guest speaker on overcoming internalized homophobia. As Thorne began, his voice echoed through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, friends in the community, I've spent years in the shadows, but today, I stand before you as a gay man." Gasps rippled through the audience. Breno froze, his mind reeling. Thorne continued, detailing his own journey, how he'd hidden his identity to build a career in therapy, even participating in practices he now denounced. "I was part of the problem," he admitted, tears glistening. "Conversion therapy doesn't cure. It harms." Breno's hands trembled. This man, who had taken his money and twisted his mind, was now outing himself? Rage bubbled up, mixed with a strange relief. Sarah noticed his pallor. "You okay?" she whispered. Breno shook his head, bolting from his seat as applause erupted. Outside, in the crisp autumn air, he paced, memories flooding back. The isolation, the self-loathing, the lost love with Jamie. How could Thorne do this? Was it hypocrisy or redemption? Breno didn't know, but one thing was clear. His cure had been a lie, and the truth was clawing its way out. Back inside, Thorne's speech wrapped up with calls for bans on conversion therapy, citing studies on its psychological damage. Breno lingered in the lobby, debating whether to confront him. As attendees mingled, Thorne emerged, shaking hands. Their eyes met across the room, recognition flashing in Thorne's gaze. He approached cautiously. "Breno, is that you?" The confrontation was inevitable. "How dare you?" Breno hissed, voice low but venomous. "You took my money, promised me a fix, and now you're here, preaching acceptance?" Thorne's face paled. "I was wrong, Breno. I was hiding from myself." The words hung heavy, sparking the first crack in Breno's armored heart. But forgiveness? That was a battlefield yet to be crossed. The days following the conference blurred into a haze of anger and introspection for Breno. He replayed Thorne's speech in his mind, the applause mocking his own silenced pain. Back in his Brooklyn apartment, overlooking the bustling streets, Breno poured himself a whiskey, staring at old photos from Texas. There was one of him and his parents at a family barbecue, smiles plastered on, hiding the fractures beneath. He hadn't come out to them. Why risk the rejection when the therapy had worked? But now, with Thorne's revelation, the illusion crumbled. Sarah called that evening, her voice laced with concern. "What happened back there? You looked like you'd seen a ghost." Breno hesitated, then spilled it all, the therapy, the money, the charade. "He was my therapist, Sarah. The one who convinced me I could change." She gasped. "That's conversion therapy?" "Breno, that's illegal in some states now. You should sue." But legal action felt hollow. What Breno craved was understanding, not revenge. Meanwhile, Thorne grappled with his own turmoil. After the speech, he'd returned to his modest home in upstate New York, where he'd left the clinic years ago to pursue advocacy. Coming out publicly was liberating, but seeing Breno had unearthed guilt he'd tried to bury. "I hurt people," he confessed to his partner, Mark, over dinner. Mark, a gentle architect, squeezed his hand. "You did, but you're making amends now." Thorne nodded, but sleep evaded him, haunted by memories of sessions with vulnerable young men like Breno. Fate intertwined them again when Breno, fueled by restless energy, searched online for Thorne's contact. An email address from the conference site led to a tentative message. "We need to talk. Not for your sake, but mine." Thorne replied promptly, suggesting a neutral spot, a quiet cafe in Manhattan. Breno agreed, his stomach nodding with apprehension. The meeting was charged from the start. Seated across from each other, steam rising from their coffees, Breno dove in. "Why did you do it? Why peddle that crap when you knew it was bullshit?" Thorne sighed, rubbing his temples. "I was in denial, Breno. Raised in a religious family, I believed it myself at first. The clinic paid well, and I convinced myself I was helping. But over time, the contradictions ate at me." Breno leaned forward, eyes blazing. "Contradictions? You mean like being gay while telling others to suppress it?" Thorne's admission deepened. He shared his story, falling in love with a college roommate, only to end it out of fear. Marrying a woman briefly to prove his straightness. The divorce that forced self-reflection. "I left the clinic after realizing I was projecting my self-hate onto patients," he said. "I've been in therapy myself, advocating against what I once promoted." Breno listened, a mix of empathy and fury swirling. "You cost me years of my life," he said softly. "I lost someone because of you." The conversation unearthed buried emotions. Breno spoke of Jamie, how their relationship had been his first taste of authenticity, only to be poisoned by the therapy's indoctrination. "I broke his heart, thinking I was saving mine." Thorne's eyes welled.
"I'm sorry, Breno."
"Truly, if I could refund every penny I would." But money couldn't mend the scars. As they parted, Thorne offered, "If you ever want to talk more, I'm here, as a friend, not a therapist." Breno nodded curtly, unsure. Back home, Breno's life began to shift. He reconnected with Jamie via social media, now living in Chicago with a stable job in graphic design. Their messages started cautiously, apologies, updates, evolving into late-night calls. "I never stopped thinking about you," Jamie admitted one evening. Breno's chest tightened. "Me too. But I was messed up." Sharing the Thorn saga brought catharsis, but also reopened wounds. Jamie was understanding, yet wary. "You've got to face this head-on, Breno. For us, if there's an us." Societal pressures amplified the drama. Breno's parents visited New York for Thanksgiving, their conservative views clashing with the city's vibrancy. Over turkey, his father ranted about woke culture ruining America, while his mother fretted about his single status. "When are you settling down?" she prodded. Breno bit his tongue, the secret festering. That night, he confided in Sarah, who urged him to come out. "They love you. Give them a chance." But fear of disownment loomed large. Thorn, meanwhile, faced backlash from his speech. Former colleagues from the clinic denounced him online, calling him a traitor. Supportive messages poured in too, from survivors thanking him for speaking out. One email from a young man mirrored Breno's story, prompting Thorn to organize a support group. He invited Breno, who declined at first, but curiosity won. Attending anonymously, Breno heard tales of coercion, family rejection, and resilient recoveries. It humanized his pain, showing he wasn't alone. As winter set in, tensions built. Breno and Jamie planned a visit, but doubts plagued Breno. Was he ready for love, or still chained to the past? Thorn's presence lingered, a reminder of betrayal yet potential ally. The stage was set for revelations that would test loyalties and force choices. Snow blanketed Brooklyn as Breno paced his apartment, awaiting Jamie's arrival. Their reunion was electric. Hugs at the airport, tentative kisses in the cab, but underlying currents of unresolved hurt simmered. Over dinner at a cozy Italian spot, Jamie probed gently. "Tell me about the therapy." "All of it." Breno recounted the sessions, the manipulations, Thorn's role. Jamie's face hardened. "That man's a monster. How can he just switch sides now?" Breno shrugged. "He's changed, or claims to." The weekend deepened their bond. Walks in Central Park, shared laughs over old memories, intimate conversations about dreams deferred. Yet, when Jamie suggested making it official, Breno hesitated. "I need time. My family's a mess." Jamie nodded, but disappointment flickered. "Don't let them control you forever." As Jamie left for Chicago, promising more visits, Breno felt the pull of authenticity stronger than ever. Thorn's support group became a lifeline. In the dimly lit community center, Breno shared snippets of his story, finding solace in collective nods. One member, a veteran named Carlos, spoke of military discharge due to his orientation, fueling discussions on institutional discrimination. Thorn facilitated with humility, never dominating. After one session, he pulled Breno aside. "You're making progress. Proud of you." Breno bristled. "Don't patronize me." But Thorn's sincerity chipped away at resentment. Familial conflict escalated during a phone call home. His mother, sensing distance, pressed, "Something's wrong, Breno. Talk to me." Emboldened by the group, he tested waters. "What if I told you I'm gay?" Silence stretched, then her voice cracked. "That's not you. It's a phase." His father grabbed the phone. "Don't spout that nonsense. We raised you better." The call ended in shouts, leaving Breno devastated. Sarah consoled him. "They'll come around. Or not. But you deserve happiness." Seeking perspective, Breno met Thorn again, this time at a park bench overlooking the Hudson. "My parents rejected me," Breno said flatly. Thorn empathized. "Mine disowned me after I came out. It hurts, but living truthfully heals." They discussed the ethics of conversion therapy, its pseudoscience, the bans in states like New York, the ongoing fights in others. "I testified in Albany last year," Thorn revealed. "Your story could help." Breno scoffed. "Use me as your redemption arc?" Yet the idea intrigued, a way to reclaim power. Jamie's encouragement via texts urged action. "Stand up for yourself. For us." But societal backlash reared when Breno posted subtly about pride on Instagram, a rainbow filter on his profile. Colleagues at work whispered, A conservative client pulled out. "We don't mix politics with business," the boss warned. Breno defended, "It's not politics. It's my life." The tension highlighted workplace discrimination, mirroring broader debates on LGBTQ+ rights. Thorne faced his own trials. A lawsuit from the old clinic accused him of defamation post-speech. "They're fighting dirty," he told Mark, stress lines deepening. Mark supported, "Truth will win." Thorne reached out to former patients, including Breno, for affidavits. Breno wavered, torn between justice and exposure. "If I do this, my family finds out everything." Thorne respected, "Only if you're ready." The turning point came at a holiday party where Breno, emboldened by whiskey, kissed a male acquaintance. Word spread, reaching his parents via a cousin's gossip. A frantic call followed. "Is it true?" his mother sobbed. Breno affirmed, "Yes, Mom, I'm gay." His father's rage boomed, "You're no son of mine." The disownment stung, but liberation followed. He called Jamie immediately. "I'm done hiding." Jamie's joy was palpable. "Come to Chicago. Let's build something real." As Breno prepared to testify, doubts lingered. Was Thorne truly reformed or opportunistic? The courtroom loomed, a stage for truths and reckonings. Alliances formed, but fractures threatened. Carlos from the group warned, "Watch your back. Change doesn't erase harm." Breno nodded, steeling for the climax. The Albany courthouse buzzed with tension as Breno entered, his testimony affidavit clutched tightly. Thorne's lawsuit had escalated into a class action against the clinic, drawing media attention. Reporters swarmed, flashing cameras capturing the drama. Breno spotted Thorne, looking weary but determined, flanked by lawyers. "Thank you for coming," Thorne said earnestly. Breno replied coolly, "This is for me, not you." Inside, the proceedings unfolded like a scripted tragedy. Witnesses recounted horrors, suicidal ideations, broken relationships, financial ruin. Breno took the stand, voice steady despite nerves. Dr. Thorne promised a cure for $20,000. Instead, he instilled shame that nearly destroyed me. Murmurs rippled. Thorne's head bowed. Cross-examination probed. "But you've reconciled with Dr. Thorne?" Breno admitted partial truth. "We're talking, but forgiveness isn't absolution." Outside court, protesters clashed, advocates chanting for bans, opponents decrying attacks on religious freedom. Breno's face appeared in news clips, outing him nationally. His phone exploded with messages. Support from Sarah and Jamie, vitriol from strangers. "Traitor to your faith," one read. The exposure intensified personal stakes. Jamie flew in for support, their nights filled with whispered reassurances. "I'm proud of you," Jamie said, holding him close. Family silence was deafening. Breno's attempts at contact went unanswered, deepening isolation. In a vulnerable moment, he confided in Thorne during a strategy meeting. "They cut me off. Was it worth it?" Thorne shared his reconciliation story. "My sister reached out after years. Time heals some wounds." Their dynamic shifted from adversarial to tentative alliance, bonded by shared regret. Jamie's presence grounded Breno, but jealousy simmered when he noticed Breno's growing reliance on Thorne. "He's the reason you suffered," Jamie argued one evening. Breno defended, "He's fighting now." The tension sparked their first fight. "Don't romanticize your abuser," Jamie stormed out, leaving Breno questioning loyalties. Reconciliation came with apologies, but cracks showed. The trial's peak arrived with Thorne's testimony. He detailed clinic operations, admitting complicity. "I was gay, hiding behind harm." Gasps echoed. The judge's gavel silenced them. Defense painted him as unreliable, a flip-flopper seeking fame. Thorne countered, "No, seeking justice." Breno watched, emotions churning. Pity, anger, respect. Post-session, Thorne collapsed in exhaustion. Mark comforted him, a poignant reminder of love's resilience. Societal ripples extended. Breno's story inspired a viral article, sparking debates on conversion therapy's legality. Politicians weighed in. Bills advanced in conservative states. But backlash included threats, anonymous calls, doxing. Breno hired security, paranoia mounting. "Is this what freedom costs?" he asked Jamie. "Yes, and it's worth it," Jamie affirmed. As verdict neared, Breno visited Texas unannounced, confronting his parents. The doorstep scene was raw, tears, accusations. "You chose this path," his father bellowed.
No, I choose honesty, Breno retorta.
His mother wavered. "We love you, but..." The impasse broke his heart, but he left with closure. Back in New York, Jamie proposed moving in together. "Let's start fresh." Breno agreed, hope flickering. But Thorne's call interrupted. The clinic settled. Refunds incoming. Breno's share covered his losses, symbolic victory. Yet, as celebrations ensued, a nagging doubt persisted. Had Thorne's redemption erased the pain? The story's threads converged, setting up final reckonings. With the settlement finalized, Breno received his $20,000 back, but the money felt tainted, a hollow echo of lost years. He donated half to LGBTQ+ charities, channeling pain into purpose. Thorne's advocacy soared. He authored a book on his journey, dedicating a chapter to survivors like Breno. Their relationship evolved into cautious friendship, coffee meetups discussing policy, shared laughs over ironies. "Who'd have thought?" Thorne mused. Breno smiled faintly. Life's a plot twist. Jamie's move to New York solidified their romance. They navigated coupledom amid Brooklyn's vibrancy. Pride parades, therapy sessions for Breno's lingering trauma. But shadows lingered. Jamie's occasional resentment toward Thorne surfaced. "He gets too much credit," Jamie said during a heated dinner. Breno soothed. "He's part of my past, but you're my future." Compromise came through boundaries, ensuring balance. Familial thawing began unexpectedly. A Christmas card from his mother arrived. "Thinking of you." Calls followed, tentative bridges. His father remained distant, but progress was progress. Breno attended family therapy virtually, unpacking generations of expectations. "We were scared," his mother admitted. "For you, for us." Empathy bloomed, though scars remained. Societal debates raged on. Breno spoke at conferences, his story fueling bans in more states. Controversies arose. Critics argued therapy's voluntary nature. Defenders cited religious rights. One panel devolved into shouts, "It's abuse," versus "It's choice." Breno's poised responses earned respect, but exhaustion mounted. "Am I fighting forever?" he confided in Thorne. "Only as long as needed," Thorne replied. Personal growth peaked when Breno proposed to Jamie during a sunset stroll. "Will you marry me?" Tears flowed. Yes sealed their commitment. The wedding, intimate in Central Park, symbolized triumph. Sarah as best woman, Thorne attending humbly. Even Breno's mother flew in, a tearful hug marking reconciliation. His father's absence stung, but didn't define the joy. Yet, reflections on the journey stirred mixed emotions. Thorne's come out had been the catalyst, but was it selfless or self-serving? Breno pondered during quiet moments, weighing hypocrisy against change. The clinic's closure brought closure, but survivors' stories reminded of ongoing harm. As years passed, Breno built a life of authenticity. Career advancements, advocacy work, a home with Jamie. Fatherhood via adoption fulfilled dreams once deemed impossible. Thorne retired to write, his legacy debated. Villain turned hero? Breno's forgiveness was complete, but not blind. "We all deserve second chances," he told a young mentee. "But accountability first." The narrative's end left echoes of dispute. Conversion therapy persisted in pockets, fueling arguments on ethics, science, and rights. Breno's tale highlighted human complexity. Flawed choices, redemptive arcs, resilient love. Is conversion therapy a legitimate treatment, or is it inherently abusive?